Studio Sri Lanka.
A pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the national news broadcast of Rupavahini. I'm Dilanjali Anand. Joining me is Charita Minipurarachi. And these are the top stories which have made headlines for tonight. A parliamentary select committee to inquire into wrong decisions that led to the economic crisis. Minister Kanchana says the electricity tariffs should increase to ensure an uninterrupted power supply. China extends assistance for debt restructuring of Sri Lanka. Prices in eateries to increase following the electricity tariff hike. Youth along with school children prone for ice drugs. Siripada season begins tomorrow. New regulations adopted in Indonesia over illicit affairs. Now for those and other stories in detail. The World Bank has approved Sri Lanka's request to access concessional financing from the International Development Association. In a statement yesterday, the World Bank said that this measure will enable Sri Lanka to implement its government-led reform program to stabilize the economy. Sri Lanka has made this request following its social and economic declines, which have reflected with the reduced income levels, reversed poverty gains and affected its access to financial markets. Through International Development Association support, the World Bank will provide concessional financing, technical assistance and policy advice as Sri Lanka implements reforms to drive recovery and enhance the country's economic prospects, especially measures directed towards the poor. Access to International Development Association's concessional financing would also alleviate existing debt service pressures given the more favorable terms IDA financing carries. World Bank Vice President for Development Finance, Akihiko Nishio, said that the World Bank is ready to support Sri Lanka as it implements reforms that will reduce poverty and rebuild the economy, creating a foundation for sustainable growth. As an International Development Association country, Sri Lanka will also subject to IDA operational policies. Since 2017, when it first graduated from IDA, Sri Lanka has been creditworthy for lending from the World Bank's International Bank for Reconstruction and Development.
China hopes relevant countries and international financial institutions will work to play a positive role in helping Sri Lanka overcome its current difficulties. Chinese Foreign Minister spokesman Mao Ning made these remarks when asked to comment on a media report that an International Monetary Fund team will arrive to China this week to discuss a faster progress on debt restructuring for countries including Sri Lanka. Chinese Foreign Minister spokesman Mao Ning said that China has a long-standing sound cooperation with IMF and other international economic and financial institutions. Concerning Sri Lanka's debt issue, she said that China attaches high performance to Sri Lanka's difficulties and challenges. She has also indicated that they support the financial institutions in working out with Sri Lanka to properly solve the issue. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman said that they also hope relevant countries and international financial institutions will work with China and continue to play a constructive role in helping Sri Lanka to overcome the current difficulties, ease its debt burden and realize sustainable development.
Now, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that steps would be taken to introduce a strong new economic system that can face 2050.
He made these remarks while inaugurating the Sri Lanka Economic Summit 2022 yesterday. Sri Lanka's Economic Summit 2022, the foremost and most anticipated annual economic event in Sri Lanka, was held in Colombo under the theme Resettling from Turmoil to Opportunity, pointing out that the country's economy cannot be recovered through outdated economic systems. The president said that the first, second and third thing needed to build the Sri Lankan economy is foreign exchange. The president also pointed out that in order to recover from the economic crisis Sri Lanka is currently facing, the debt must be restructured and the correct economic system should be introduced.
This was just a collapse of the economy. It was an economy waiting to collapse. In the 4.5 years I was Prime Minister, it was an effort to try and take the economy out in a different direction. We were able to get a surplus on the primary budget. It is not surprising that this economic collapse in the 2 years of COVID, reduction of revenue and the policy measures that were taken. So from the turmoil, we have to get up. We are still working our way through. We've been able to stabilize with our own effort. The last few months, from July onwards, from August onwards, we had to do it on our own, of course with the help that the multilaterals gave us. We've got into a staff level agreement with the IMF. We are now discussing with our creditors, bilateral creditors, not the Paris Club, but with India, and we've had very successful talks. And we have started talks with China, and they've asked us to talk with the Exim Bank, and the talks are going on. The talks with China started later because it had to start after the party conference. We are paying not only for the increase in price of coal and fuel, but also for bad management. Now, this is the first issue we have. Are we to adjust the prices and face the consequences, or are we to do nothing and hope someone will help us? We have to save our banks. One is all of you want to know what's going to happen to the interest rates. You all understandably want some relief with the interest rates to carry business on. It's not easy to carry business on with such high interest rates. The bad debt that is being carried by the banks is mainly from the private sector or the government sector. Keep the government sector aside, we are dealing with it. How do you handle it? One of our major areas of concern are the small and medium industries. You can't allow them to collapse. So you've got to find a solution. There I think the state and the private sector, the big players, medium players, all have to see how can we save our small and medium enterprises. Then remember, for the next few years, we have to borrow money. Our trade balance is not in our favor. So are we going to rebuild the same structure and come down again much faster? Therefore, I thought it's not worth reforming it. So I personally have no plans for reform, and the government will not have plans for reforms. We want to build a new economy that will face 2050. Is the private sector ready for it? We talk of renewable energy. I won't talk of renewable energy. I will talk of green hydrogen. That's where the potential lies. We seem to be having an immense surplus of renewable energy which can be turned into green hydrogen. Why don't we develop and become a logistics center? When I last tried to develop the Colombo harbour and tried to give out the East Terminal, there's a big debate as to why I am trying to sell the country. Now we have given the West Terminal out, it's very good. But if you really want to get going, you have to give the East Terminal out. We've given the first choice to Japan. If they don't, we'll ask the others to come in. Colombo port must be the busiest port in South Asia. The small port won't do, so when you get full, we are now talking of, we are thinking of expanding the Colombo port all the way to Jahila. All they are necessary. So we've got to think out of the box. You have to look at what you can do. To all this, we require education. High education, school education. We have to become an educational hub. And I must thank all parties in Parliament who agreed, let's open the higher education sector to a private university, the private sector and to university. We have an idea of what the long-term plan should be. We'll put it out for discussion, we'll prepare it. We'll ask all the political parties and the different players in the economy to give their views. But we'll prove, are you ready to go? If you are against it, come up with a viable alternative. That's all that I'm asking. It's not for me, it's for you all. For all the young people who are looking for a better future. We may all not be here by 2050, but for those who are there and the younger people, a better future.
Regional Vice President of the World Bank for South Asia, Martin Reiser, Chairman, Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Vish Govinsamy, and CEO of Niti Aayog India, Parameshwar Iyer, also spoke on this occasion. MPs Eran Vikramaratne and Harsh De Silva and Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe were also present at this occasion. Now, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, International Monetary Fund and Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank representatives decided that a coordinated assistance program supported by the multilateral financial institutions is required for Sri Lanka to recover from the economic crisis.
The country is currently facing what they have reached the agreement following a lengthy round-table discussion held today with the President Ranil Wickremesinghe in Colombo, where the latter represented Sri Lanka's development program associated with the economic recovery and growth along with a vision for long-term development. The President presented the program at a round-the-table discussion in his capacity as the Minister of Finance. The round-table discussion was held with the Vice President of the Sri Lankan World Bank, Martin Razor, Vice President of the Asian Development Bank, Shin Shin Chen, IMF Senior Mission Chief Peter Bureau, and Dr. Urjit Patel, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, along with the senior officials of those institutions currently in Sri Lanka. Following the discussions, it was agreed with the coordinated assistance program supported by the multilateral financial institutions is vital for the Sri Lankan to recover from the present economic difficulties. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena was also present at this occasion. Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandula Gunawardena says a proposal will be tabled to appoint a parliamentary select committee to probe the wrong decision which led to the present economic crisis.
The minister made these remarks while speaking at the media briefing held to announce the cabinet decisions today. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that the parliament is empowered with the authority over finances. Therefore, he said that all political parties and those who represent the parliament should inform the speaker and appoint a select committee to rectify the past decisions and taking other countries into account when formulating such policies as the parliament. The minister also said that plans are being formulated to transform Ceylon Railways Department into an authority.
It was revealed in the parliament today that 3 of the 7 casinos in Sri Lanka are yet to pay taxes thus far. COPA chairman Dr. Harsha De Silva pointed out the importance in the regularity of the casinos. COPA chairman MP Dr. Harsha De Silva said that they have considered the act to regulate casino business. Accordingly, he pointed out that this act has been postponed for the second time. He further pointed out the importance of the establishment of a regulatory authority in this regard. He said that during the discussions it was revealed that out of the 7 casinos, only 4 have made tax payments to a certain extent. However, he said that there is no information over the other businesses and other tax payments.
Now, Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says the electricity tariffs should be increased to ensure an uninterrupted power supply. The minister speaking at the parliament today said that the speculations on the potential price hike in order to cover the losses sustained by the electricity board are false and baseless. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara said that no proposal has been submitted on how to cover the past losses. He said that the relevant cabinet paper had proposed to formulate a tariff methodology which reflects on the power generation costs in the country. Accordingly, he added that the paper had further proposed to update the charges in the month of January and July respectively. The minister said that the total cost for power generation is at 432.5 billion rupees, which should be facilitated to the electricity board through the treasury. However, he said that the treasury is unable to provide the relevant provisions worth 423 billion rupees for the power generation. Therefore, he pointed out that either the arrears should be recovered through taxes or through revised charges.
Meanwhile, Restaurant Owners Association says the prices of food items will be increased if the proposed electricity tariff hike came to effect. The association further said that the prices will not be increased despite of the gas price hike. Litro Gas Company increased the prices of domestic gas cylinders by 250 rupees from yesterday. Restaurant Owners Association pointed out that the benefits of the price reductions in flour, vegetables, chicken and other items will be directed to the customers. Janata Nadi organization in a joint media briefing said that the proposed electricity tariff hike will contribute to the collapse of many sectors in the country. Meanwhile, the public raised their concerns and objections to the government and the Litro Gas Company over the gas price increase. Protests were organized in several areas today, displaying their concern and displeasure over the commodity price increase, including essential commodity price hikes and privatizations. And meanwhile, the Sri Pada pilgrimage season begins tomorrow. The statue of the Sri Saman deity and the casket of relics were prepared for him at Galput Talav Rajamahavihare to Sri Pada this morning. The religious observances prior to the parade was held last evening at the Galpottawala Rajamahawihara in Palmadula. The Sri Pada pilgrim season begins on the Unduwap full moon Poi day and concludes on the Vesak full moon Poi day. The procession of the statue of the Sri Sumanasama deity and the casket of relics was prepared along with the routes towards Sri Pada. Governor of the Sabaragama province Tikiriko Bakadua, Ratnapura district secretary Malini Lokaputagama and leader of the indigenous community Uruvarige Wanila Atto were present at this occasion.
Now, school children and youth have become the target of ICE drug traffickers. Therefore, media spokesman of Excise Department Dr. Kapila Kumarasinghe has requested the vulnerable segments to be cautious over such approaches.
Media spokesman of Excise Department Dr. Kapila Kumarasinghe said that low prices, easy consumption and the ability to conceal the drug efficiently have been the main cause for the rapid addiction on ICE drugs. Dr. Kapila Kumarasinghe said that a large student community and a significant youth community have already become victims of these manners. Therefore, he requested the elders to become more cautious of their children in order to prevent them from becoming victims. Certain legal constraints have surfaced with legal actions were taken against drugs such as ice. However, the constraints were removed after an amended Act on Poisons, Opium and Dangerous Drugs Ordinance came into effect last month.
Now, Sugat Ratnayaka, a lecturer at the Foreign Language School of Yunnan University, China, has won the first place in the international competition called My Campus Story, hosted by the China Daily. He earned this achievement from a total of 1,474 entries, including 1,078 written works and 396 short videos from international students from 115 countries and regions. The competition was held in English and Chinese dual languages for international students who are studying or have studied in China. For this purpose, works were accepted from the contestants in 3 categories, namely essays, photos and videos. Sugat presented his essay on the theme of My Chinese University Journey from the perspective of a foreign teacher. Sugat Ratnayaka is a lecturer in the Sinhala Studies Department of the Foreign Language School of Yunnan University, China, and is a former consultant of the Sinhala Service of China Radio International. Sugat also won the 2nd place in the International Storytelling Competition, China, and Me 5 is from now hosted by the China Daily.
The Minute on Pension has been amended and the revised provisions will come into effect from January 1st, 2023. The relevant Gazette notification was issued yesterday. Accordingly, a provision included on the 17th minute of pension has been completely replaced with the new provision. The special Gazette notification has made it compulsory for public sector employees to retire at the age of 60 years. However, the public official has been given the opportunity to retire at the age of 55 years or after. According to the Gazette notification, it is not applied to public officers whose age of compulsory retirement is fixed by the Constitution or any other law unless otherwise decided by a competent authority. And meanwhile, the individual who was arrested over organ trafficking was remanded by Colombo Additional Magistrate Rajendra Jayasuriya until December 13th.
The magistrate ordered to produce the suspect before an identification parade on the same day. The suspect arrested by the Colombo Crimes Division yesterday was produced before the courts today. Representing the Colombo Crimes Division, Senior Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Pires requested the courts to issue an order to produce the suspect before an identification parade. He also requested the courts to issue a foreign travel ban on 6 director board members of the private hospital in Borala, which maintained as the exchange centre in the organ trafficking scandal. Accordingly, the Colombo Additional Magistrate ordered to produce the suspect before an identification parade and imposed a foreign travel ban on the 6 members of the Director Board. Now, education is considered as one of the important factors that determines the future of a country.
reaching greater heights in various sectors and make valuable contributions to the society, who will have become an ambition of many youth in the country despite their education qualifications in the school level. This is an inquiry into the alternative paths available for the young in the country to fulfill their dreams. GCE ordinary level examination is considered as a primary standard set for the students. Even though many praise the children who pass the examination with flying colours, but no attention is directly on those who fail. Long-term logical solutions should be sought for the prevailing crises outside the traditional education methodologies. The Educational Ministry has initiated a program to identify specific skills of the children and extended vocational training for them accordingly. Director of the Education for all branches of Ministry of Education, Badra Vitanagi, said that the NVQ 4 certificates is equal for the advanced level certification. Accordingly, she said that the child will be admitted to the Vocational Training Institute through the Education Ministry based on the preferred vocational stream. The dedication and the commitment of the school system are considered as main factors contributing to the success of the educational methodology within a short period. Accordingly, graduate teachers trained for the new curriculum have been assigned for the respective schools. Steps have been taken to provide equipment and other tools necessary for the vocational training curriculum, and such measures have also contributed in boosting the confidence of the children. However, the prevailing economic crises have become an obstacle for many students in the country. Primarily identifying the skills and sectors in which the children require guidance, the 13 years of education program directs such students for respective institutions for further vocational education. 2,438 students from vocational, technical and technological institutions scattered across the country recently received their high diplomas under the categories NVQ 4, 5 and 6.
The distribution of urea fertilizer on free-of-charge basis for farmers in Anuradhapura district was held today. Accordingly, 70,000 farmers were benefited from this initiative. A farmer with less than 1 acre of paddy field will receive 50 kilograms of fertilizer. The farmer praised the government for providing fertilizer on free-of-charge basis. Sri Lanka received 9,300 metric tons of urea fertilizer from USAID and United Nations Food and Agriculture Organizations. The relevant consignment was extended to be distributed among low-income earning farmers. Steps have been taken to distribute the fertilizer stocks among farmers in an expeditious manner. The distribution of fertilizer among Anuradhapura district farmers was held with the participation of Minister Mahinda Amaravira. The fertilizer consignment expected to be distributed among 193,000 low-income earning families in 8 districts, including Jaffna, Mullaitivu, Mannar, Vaunia, Anuradhapura, Trincomalee, Batticaloa and Munaragala. Paddy cultivation for the upcoming Maha season has commenced in Polonnaruwa district. The farmers have opted machineries for planting purposes to reduce affiliated costs. The Department of Agriculture has indicated that the farmers will be able to obtain a higher yield at low cost by incorporating modern technologies. Now, a special ceremony was held in Colombo to commemorate the National Day of Thailand yesterday.
Thai National Day was celebrated on the occasion of the birth anniversary of late King Bhumibol Abdullah. The ceremony was held under the patronage of Thai Ambassador in Sri Lanka, Pooja Harnpol. Minister Bandula Gunawardena participated in this event as the chief guest. Speaker Mahinda Apabewardena, Minister Vijayadas Rajapaksha, government and opposition representatives, diplomats and other guests were present at this occasion.
Sri Lanka and Thailand are intrinsically intertwined by common affinities, interests and similarities. Both countries are linked with an unbreakable bond, the bond of a common faith, that of Theravada Buddhism, that came to Thailand from Sri Lanka and was known as Lanka Vamsa. This deep and long-standing relationship for centuries has been mutually beneficial and has enriched and strengthened both societies. Buddhism has played a pivotal and catalytic role over several hundred years in binding the two countries together and has provided the foundation to nurture relations that have been further consolidated over the centuries with people-to-people contact, trade, and commerce and establishment of diplomatic relations. The two countries enjoy strong and warm relations in a variety of spheres ranging from political and economic to religious and cultural, people-to-people contact, as well as mutual beneficial cooperation in regional and international fora. Sri Lanka and Thailand actively cooperate in the multilateral arena and share common goals and concerns in membership of IORA, BIMSTEC, the Asian Regional Forum, ARF, as well as groupings such as the Non-Aligned Movement and Group of 77. Sri Lanka deeply appreciates the assistance rendered by Thailand from the government, people, and various organizations to provide cash donations and medicines in response to an appeal from the health authorities.
Recently, the Royal Thai Embassy witnessed dynamic development on private sector side. A few Thai investment projects in the pipeline have received encouraging responses from the Sri Lankan agencies such as BOI. If these projects has ultimately approved, their implementation will help stimulate the export-oriented economic policy of Sri Lanka and improve livelihoods of grassroots level people by way of employment opportunity in a very much needed region of the North and Eastern provinces. The success story of Thai entrepreneur and Thai company in Sri Lanka will surely pave the way for more diversified investment from our country. We see prospects in areas such as agro-industry, tourism and accommodation, biocircular green energy, etc. Thailand and Sri Lanka are now on a firm ground to move ahead together for mutual benefit based on our strong historical bond lasting almost a millennium, and the people-to-people goodwill and affinity that has grown beautifully out of such bond. Thailand stands ready to work closely with Sri Lanka to further strengthen the existing excellent relation between our two countries.
Now, it has been revealed that 5 elephant passes in Anuradhapura district have been encroached by various individuals. Wildlife officials have pointed out that such acts have led to the increase in elephant-human conflict. This was revealed during a media meeting presided over by Minister Mahinda Amaravira with wildlife officials of the Anuradhapura district. Farmer representatives taking part in the meeting pointed out that their cultivations have been destroyed due to wild elephants. Also, they have claimed that they have been deprived with sufficient income due to the reduced crops from wild animal attacks. It has been reported that wild elephants have lost 16 main elephant passes due to human activities. Meanwhile, plans have been made to release 13 elephant passes by 2024.
And meanwhile, a 15-feet-long crocodile was trapped in a fishing net in Payagala area. The crocodile was weighing around 500 kilograms. The magnificent feature was trapped in a fishing net at Kudaraila Gate in Payagala. The fishermen in the area managed to the crocodile a tree after a massive effort. Subsequently, Hikkandu wildlife officials have arrived at the scene and taken the creature with them. Fishermen claim that many fish harvest have returned to ocean after the crocodile had damaged the net. Stay tuned for international news after this break.
Welcome back. On your foreign news, President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Ukraine is switching to emergency shutdowns to stabilize its power grid after yesterday's Russian missile attacks.
The president said many regions were affected, with the local authorities warned that about half of the Kiwi region would remain without electricity in the coming days. 4 people were killed in yesterday's attacks. Ukrainian officials said overnight more missiles hit critical infrastructure near the southern city of Zaporizhzhia. Meanwhile, the governor of Russia Kursk region said a drone attack on the airfield set an oil storage tank alight. The officials further said that there were no casualties, but 2 local schools were closed for the day.